So we're back with you here for one final time on Tip-Off. Ron Poniewasz joined by Larry Kelly. Before we get too far, Larry, a couple of in-progress scores, one of them being final. The final score, Eden Christian eliminated Laurel 68-42. Clairton was up real big on Shenango. As a matter of fact, Clairton finished it off. They won 60-25. Neshannock, going to the fourth quarter, was winning 37-29 over Fort Cherry. So that's a 4 against a 13. So Fort Cherry's really hanging in there on the road at a tough place to play at Neshannock. And Pine Richland is beating Mount Lebanon at the half, 25-19. So maybe we'll get a final on Neshannock by the time we're done on this round of topics. Of course, by the time everybody watches it, it'll be irrelevant anyways. But first off, Larry, do you feel that there's too many teams that make up the playoffs? And I'm going to read a bunch of scores, and it's probably going to come off as I'm picking on this one classification. But WPIL Class 3A girls scores. First round. Seton LaSalle, 61. Stowe Rocks, 27. Route. Greensburg Central Catholic, 67. Mohawk, 21. Route. Avonworth, 42. Riverside, 37. Very competitive. Quaker Valley, 50. Keystone Oaks, 36. So you might say that, okay, that could have been close. Maybe they were fouling at the end, and the score kind of got away, so we can throw that one out. Beaver Falls, which is very good, lost only one game in the regular season. That was to Neshannock. In overtime, Beaver Falls, 73. South Allegheny, 15. Route. Waynesburg Central, 55. Deer Lakes, 28. Olsh, 54. McGuffey, 20. To me, there's too many teams in the playoffs.
There's too many, Ronnie. I agree with you. There's too many, and the scores are indicative of the inequality of the talent. Look, in my day, you had to win the section to get in the playoffs. Look, you don't finish first or second in your section, probably shouldn't be there. Maybe it's happened once or twice in the history of the WPIAL that a team that has been seeded 10th or higher has won a WPIAL championship. It might have been Union. They might have been a high seed the year that they won the WPIAL championship with Craig Hannon. It happened one other time, where maybe a team's star is injured early in the year. But look, Ronnie, they're routes, they're blowouts. Most of these first round games are blowouts. And, it's just look at the scores that you just read off. Shenango, they got beat by how many? It's 30 points or something. I think.
Oh, the boys team tonight, 60-25,
Yeah, and then there was another route that in the boys games that you just read off, and if I were running the WPIAL, but it's a lot of it's about money. The more teams in, the more money they make. I'm probably saying, look, first and second place, they get in. If there's a tie for second place, both teams get in. That's as far as I'm going.
Yeah. In 8-team sections, 5 teams get in. In less than 8-team sections, it's 4. So I think 4 out of 7 or 5 out of 8. That's way too many. You gotta.
Yes, I agree. You might be able to convince me that 3 teams in each section get in. Maybe you can convince me of that, but truth be told, the 4th place team in a 7-team section has little, if no chance of winning. So what are we doing?
Yeah, 5 out of 8. I'm starting to wonder, does the WPIL do anything for these teams? Do they give them an all expense paid pizza party, or is there any kind of, there's got to be some kind of kickback that schools get, because 5 out of 8,
I think the schools do get some money back from the WPIL. I think they do. But really, what are we doing? Yeah. We're there, this shouldn't be a money-making machine. We're there to crown a champion, and those teams who've had legitimately successful seasons should be the teams competing for that championship. A 4th place team, you're going to get beat by 40 points in the opening round. Really?
Yeah, and I kind of worry about a program like the Mohawk girls. They had 10 girls on their roster that we ran in our basketball tab. 4 of them are seniors, so that knocks it down to 6. How many do they have climbing up from 8th grade? You better have at least 4, because otherwise you're starting the season with maybe 9 or 8, and then you got injuries and people that get PO'd and they just want to quit. That's not very good.
No, and we talked about it last week. The number of girls playing girls basketball in high school is dwindling each year. Each year. It's a difficult game. It's a skill game. It's a game that requires commitment, 12 months a year. And then if you're playing on a team that doesn't win, did Newcastle girls win a game this year? I don't think they did. They were 0-17. And it has nothing to do with the coach. Jason Rankins is as good a coach as you will find in Western PA.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have the talent, you can't win. And if you're not winning, it's no fun. It's a hard game to play, and girls tend to lose interest.
Yeah. The one nice thing for Newcastle, you might wonder, maybe there's some sun on the horizon for them. I did see on Twitter recently, I believe this week, the 6th grade girls basketball championships. They're the number 1 seed, they being Newcastle, and they're in the semifinals. So you're just hoping. Hopefully these girls, when they get to 7th grade, they still play. And then when they get to 8th grade, they're still playing. And then when they get to 9th grade, they're still playing for them, not transferring to some other school.
Yeah, I mean, it starts at the lowest levels. You have to have success. Look, you want to play girls basketball. My daughter started playing in 3rd grade, and they played all the way through. It's not a sport you can pick up for the first time as a 7th, 8th grader. It's a skilled game. So Jason Rankin's obviously doing it right. I'm sure he has good coaches at those lower levels, which is important. You just can't throw them out there. You better have good coaches at the lowest levels to teach the fundamentals, to teach the young women how to play this game. There are certain elements of the game that have to be taught at a very young age.
Okay, the rest of the week, here's what we got. Tuesday, February 17th, boys basketball, Waynesburg at Mohawk. Mohawk, the number 1 seed. That's a 7 p.m. Class 3A playoffs. These first 2 boys games are 3A playoffs. Elwood City at South Allegheny, 7 p.m. That's an 8-9 game with Elwood being the 9 seed. We expect Mohawk to win, possibly with comfort. If Elwood City wins, they play each other head-to-head, and they are section rivals. Wilmington boys play Union City, 7 p.m. at General McLean. That's also another 8-9 game, I believe. Wilmington getting the 9 seed. That's District 10 Class 2A playoffs. On the girls' side on Tuesday, you have Brentwood at top-seeded Neshannock, 7 p.m. Class 2A playoffs. And you got the Laurel girls at California, and the Laurel girls are the 9 seed. That's an 8-9 game, and that's 7 p.m. So if Neshannock wins, and we all expect them to, and possibly comfortably, they would play Laurel if Laurel advances, and that'd be round 3 with the Laurel girls going up against Neshannock.
Neshannock beat them handily both times, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, again, where did Laurel finish in their section? Were they 4th?
I believe 4th. They had a really nice win late in the season against Aliquippa, and that helped clinch the playoff spot for them.
Yeah. Well, good luck. We'll see how they do tonight. And, after that, you got to play at Neshannock. That's a tough place to win.
Well, that would be on a neutral floor.
Oh, yes. It'd be 2nd round game. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And you hope that it would be a doubleheader if Elwood wins, because Elwood would be playing Mohawk, and you'd have 2 Lawrence County games. But knowing the WPIL the way I do, one game would be down at Chartiers, Houston, and another game would probably be in Hoboken, New Jersey. That'd be where they're going to play them.
There's a chance that game could be at Newcastle High School. So, but it depends when they play in it, because Newcastle plays at home on Thursday. Yeah,
you're right. So it won't be at Newcastle, and there's also a chance that you and I will split the Powerball too. So there's always a hope. All right, no basketball on Wednesday for anybody, District 10 or WPIO, at least for our county. Thursday, February 19th, as we talked, Newcastle will play the winner of Mount Lebanon and Pine Richland. I believe that'll be at the Field House, 7 p.m. Do you think they could possibly put Newcastle at the back end of a doubleheader. Maybe somebody could play, maybe Neshannock Laurel would be there if Elwood boys lose. Do you think that'd be or have they been promised it's a one-off?
No, I just think Newcastle brings too many fans. And so therefore, and their fans get there early. So if somebody else was playing before them, there may not be any seats for them to sit down. So Newcastle normally doesn't do doubleheaders.
Okay. All right. And the other game for Thursday is the Union girls. That's Union area girls. So people don't go to Union City or Union Reimersburg or any other Union. Union area girls versus the winner of Clairton West Green. And that's Class 1A action on Tuesday. And
where did Union get seated, Ronnie? What was their seed?
2 or 3, something like that.
Yeah, I knew it was a high seed. Yes, well deserved.
They didn't get the number 1 seed because they lost to Aquinas Academy twice, and Aquinas won the section title.
Yeah, a Pittsburgh AAU team. Go ahead.
Real quick here, just looking at it, Neshannock boys advance with a 57-40 win over Fort Cherry. So congratulations to the Lancers. They advance. That would be a Thursday game. I don't have in front of me who they would play, but that'll add to that'd be a third game on Thursday. And Union girls, getting back to them, they are the 3-time defending WPIL champs. Boy, what's it going to take for them to navigate the field and win a 4th in a row?
Well, they got to beat Aquinas, right, which is a Pittsburgh AAU team. Those schools get kids from all over Allegheny County. So, but it can be done in a one and done game on a neutral court. It can happen. A bad shooting night, like somebody gets in foul trouble, it can happen.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, on the regularly scheduled games that we have at this point, Saturday, Wilmington girls 18-4 against Maplewood, which is 15-7. That's a District 10 Class 2A playoff matchup. Right now, we do not have a time or a location, but it'll be a neutral court setting, as we've talked in the past or talked on this segment, that the WPIL does home games and the District 10 is neutral site. Did we mention Wilmington boys on Tuesday playing Union City? That's 7 p.m. at General McLean. So that's a neutral game. Good chance for Wilmington boys to win, but you got to remember the Wilmington boys, I believe, have 7 wins this year. 2 of them against Reynolds. Reynolds finished 2-20. 2 wins against the Academy for Urban Scholars, and they beat Portersville Christian. So that's 5 of their 7 wins. So
yeah.
How good, how competitive they will be, we'll find out on Tuesday.
Survive and advance. As you recall, the story of the 1983 North Carolina Wolfpack, Jimmy Valvano, survive and advance. Just survive and advance. That's the key here. There are no stop points. This isn't gymnastics. Survive and advance. And, if you look back on championship years, there's always one play, there's one call that could make a difference when you look back on it. I always look back on the 2014 state championship Newcastle Red Hurricane. There was a call in the Western final, a block charge call that could have went either way. And Malik Hooker stepped in and took a charge. Call goes our way and we win. If that call goes the other way, we maybe never get to the state championship game that year. So as you look back on it, there will be a call, there will be a play that if you go all the way, you'll look back on it and say, that was a difference maker.
That is correct. Okay, that closes us up for this week here on Tip Off. Best of luck to all the players, coaches, fan bases, what have you, as they compete in the WPIO or District 10 playoffs. We're going to take a break here, and we're going to get set for our Good Guy, Bad Guy sports podcast. And just so you know, you can find whatever you like, this podcast or that podcast or both of them, on YouTube or any other avenue that our podcasts are brought to you on. Hopefully you enjoy them. And as Larry would say, make sure you comment on them and tell them how great of a job you're doing.
Or not. Not doing.
That's it. All right, Larry, thanks for joining us here on Tip Off. Don't go away, because we're going to talk pro sports, college sports, and that'll be on Good Guy, Bad Guy Sports. We'll see you soon.
We all know there's an advantage to being the home team, to playing at home. And at LGKG, we have been your home team for over 90 years.
We're more than just a law firm. We're your friends, your neighbors, an advocate when life takes an unexpected turn.
We're not just lawyers that practice law. We live in this community, just like you.
When you need us most, we're at our best.